There was no Game 7. The offseason has begun. And in some ways, that's where this podcast is going to be the most useful. Let's get ready. It's time for Locked On MLB.
You are Locked On MLB. Your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen, as we're available on all the free podcasting platforms. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan, and look out. You can tell right there. You can call me Sully. This show is being dropped on the 4th day of November 2021. There is no Game 7 of the World Series to talk about because the Braves are still the World Series champs. And we're going to take a quick look at who owned baseball for the entire year, for October, for the World Series, and see how it reflected how the season and the World Series really unfolded. We're going to say goodbye to one legend of Northern California baseball and someone who was born in the town where I went to high school, is looking forward to a chance of accomplishing something that nobody's accomplished in baseball history if he goes to the right team in 2022. Follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at Locked On MLB Pods. Same handle for Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Well, this is it. Baseball is over. There are no new games, at least not for the calendar year. I'm sure if I could be following baseball in some winter leagues, or I think the Korean League may still be going on. Not 100% sure. The fact I have to ask that is kind of a tell. Major League Baseball is done. And the final moment of the season, for me at least, is always the victory parade, which I think is happening tomorrow, or maybe it's happening next week. I'm not 100% sure, in Atlanta. That to me is like the medal ceremony at the end of Star Wars. It's like that's the thing that should be the great finale. That's like the credits rolling and the Braves going on a parade. And, look at, they earned it. They earned it big time. Legit champ. And I'm going to address something, because I always tend to, when people write things to your pal Sully that are not exactly flattering, I wrote something to, I had a response on a post that I did when I basically was saying that, I'd picked the Astros to win the World Series. And I thought that the Astros bats were better than any of the offense that the Braves had faced. The Brewers bats were not that strong. The Dodgers lineup was a little bit beleaguered, especially without Max Muncy. And so I didn't think they were going to face a lineup quite like Houston. And so in the post that I did a couple of days ago, where it was my preview for Game 6, I made my case. And Chad Corley, listener, wrote, "My biggest question is, do y'all watch baseball?" Well, do you know what, Chad? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I've seen a few games over the years, or just the hype teams. Not sure who the hype teams are, but because if you watched, you'd know the Astros wouldn't be able to hit the Braves pitching. I saw the Astros hit everybody's pitching. Picking them was ridiculous unless you're just blind. Okay, a lot of blind people there. Lost a viewer here. Okay. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can't say this any more than I've already said. Is I was dead wrong about the Braves. I was dead wrong about everything about the Braves. I thought the Brewers were going to beat them. I thought the Dodgers were going to clobber them. And I thought the Astros were going to beat them in 5. I completely underestimated this team, which is one of the reasons why I'm just basically saying, yeah, I was wrong. I didn't see the depth of their bullpen. I underestimated the depth of their bullpen. I praised the Brewers' starting rotation. I loved having Scherzer anchor the Dodgers rotation as I just saw them win 106 ball games, even with losing Bauer and Kershaw and Muncy. Obviously, not all for the same reasons. And so, forgive me if I thought that, yeah, the Braves won the division, deservedly so, but maybe part of me thought that had more to do with the Mets' collapse than the Brewers, I'm sorry, than the Braves being a terrific team. Maybe I saw them having a good stretch, but I didn't see them better than some of these teams. And I turned out to be dead wrong. I underestimated the Braves, and the fact that they were underestimated the whole time and defeated three excellent teams, Milwaukee, Los Angeles, and Houston, makes their championship even more special, I think, that they were able to do that. And I responded to Chad Corley and I said, yes, I think I do indeed watch baseball. I just seen the Astros uh, uh, bombard the Red Sox and White Sox and everyone else they face. Well, the Dodgers and Brewers lineups were not as strong as Atlanta's. I congratulate the Braves, as they did indeed prove me wrong. It is odd, as Astros fans think that I hate them, and now Braves fans think I am hyping the Astros. Go figure. We'll miss you, but you're always welcome back. That's what I said to Chad Corley. And hey, let's give Chad his due. He called himself an a-hole. Chad, I'm not calling you an a-hole. I'm not calling you. He said, I'm such an a-hole. No, you're not. You're a fan whose team just won the World Series and you feel like gloating. And I have a feeling the reason why you're calling yourself an a-hole is because I'm guessing you were not around in 1995 to really appreciate it. I'm guessing that using the rule of seven, that you don't have that concrete memory of the Braves winning. I bet it happened before you were 7 years old. Uh, I bet you're not used to this feeling. You're not used to removing the shackles of, oh, we blew this game. Oh, we could have done this. Oh, why didn't we bring in Kimbrel in 2013? Oh, how did we blow down the stretch in 2011? Oh, how did we blow this wild card game? Or how did we blow a 3-1 lead to the Dodgers last year? Or how did what were they down like 11-0 in the first inning of a potential clinching game in 2019? You're used to bad Octobers. So when you finally have everything broken free, you want to gloat. You want to rub it in the face of the people who didn't believe in you. It's written concrete. I didn't believe in them. And you have every right to rub it in my face. This is what you've earned. You've earned this, Chad. You're not an a-hole. Your team won. You just don't know how to react yet. You know? And he says, and that was the most humble reply ever. Well, let's not go crazy. I didn't deserve that kind of response. Yes, you did. I was 3 sheets to the wind. Oh, what a shock. And I want to take it out on someone. You, sir, are a stand-up guy. Well, okay, fine. I'm ashamed and owe you years of you to come with a promise of no drunk YouTube comment. Okay, here's what you owe me. Okay? Trust me. I get worse. I'm a special education teacher. You don't think I could take one drunk dude in Atlanta writing me on YouTube? Come on. Come on. Dust yourself off. You're a champion now. Act like it. Come on. Rub it in some people's faces. I'll take it. I can take it. All right. And so you're not used to this feeling. You're not used to this sense of now, wait, now what? Now what? And I'll tell you exactly when it's going to kick in, Chad. And this is the glorious thing when it kicks in. It's going to kick in the next time the Braves F up. The next time they'll F up. I can tell you this as someone who grew up in New England as a Red Sox fan, watching them lose and lose in spectacular, crazy fashion, that after '04, anytime I said, oh, those Red Sox, they never, oh, they did. Oh, they did. It happened the very next year. '05 was a very frustrating year. They made it to the playoffs, but they didn't win the division. If they won one more game, they would have won the division. They got swept by the White Sox, and two of the games were really close. All those Red Sox, they always, oh wait, no, they did come through for us. The great collapse in 2011 was frustrating, but it was not like, oh, well, yeah, they lost that, but I've seen them win. So this is when it's come. This is when it's going to kick in for you, Chad. Some point, who knows? Maybe the Braves will become the first National League team since the Big Red Machine to win back-to-back titles. They probably won't. They probably won't. If this Dodger team couldn't pull it off, or the Braves of the 90s couldn't pull it off, probably this team won't. But then again, I understand. Maybe they will. But there will come a time, 2022, 2020, there'll be some year where the Braves are going to crap the bed. And Mom, yes, that's an expression people use. It means do poorly. But Chad, you know that expression because you're probably drunk now. And what's going to happen is they'll crap the bed in a spectacular fashion. Maybe they'll blow the division on the last day. Maybe they'll lose a division series game. Maybe Snicker will make a bonehead decision. All great managers do. Joe Torre did. Francona did. Sparky Anderson did. Okay? There'll be some bonehead decision like, man, they blew it. And you'll sit back, and as an Atlanta Braves fan who's been kicked in the shins and maybe even a little higher a bunch of times, your instinct will say, oh, those Braves, they always do it to me. Oh, wait, no, they don't. There was that year where they did. There was that year where they came through for me. And that's when this year will kick in. It's easy to get drunk. And for you, evidently, it's very easy to get drunk. It's easy to cheer at the parade, and you're going to be the easiest person to shop for this holiday season because just get me anything that says World Series champion Braves. I get it. Look, I'm wearing a Red Sox 2017 division series. They didn't even win the World Series that year. It's going to kick in a few years. It's going to kick in when your team blows it and you comfort yourself by watching clips of the Freddie Freeman home run or, the great catch that he made off of Altuve, or just seeing Will Smith, not that Will Smith or the other Will Smith, but your Will Smith celebrating there, the Soler home run, beating the Brewers, those great, that sweep of Philadelphia late in the year, all those things, you'll cherish those moments because they'll comfort you in some of the lame Octobers that are going to be coming up. And for everyone I know who's been a fan of a team for a long time and saw finally them winning, not just the Red Sox, San Francisco Giants were completely underrated trauma that Giant fans went through over the years when they finally won it. I'm here in Los Angeles County. All the Dodger fans who have been waiting since 1988, for some people that was before they were born, finally had their series last year in the middle of COVID. I've seen it happen with Washington fans, White Sox fans, Cub fans, Kansas City fans, you name it. So close to happening to Rangers fans. The Philadelphia fans. I have so many Philadelphia fans, friends who are Philadelphia. I got so many relatives who grew up in Delaware as big Phillies fans. And when they won in 2008, the great relief that had. So that's what you're going to have. So don't feel badly about the comment that you made the other day. Okay? Just call an Uber. Because it's a surefire bet that you were way, way too hammered to drive last night. If you don't believe me, read your comments. And if you're going to make any bets, go to BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use your promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, the Stanley Cup Finals, boxing, UFC, right up to your favorite Las Vegas casino games. Don't wait. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, not just you, Chad, but everybody else. BetOnline is where the game starts. Hey, a little bit of news, and I'm going to go to Ben Kaspick of Locked On Giants for some, not exactly unexpected news, but one that put a little tear to my eye when I heard about it. Ben, take it away.
It should go down as one of the most decorated careers in baseball history and one of the most important careers in the history of the Giants. Buster Posey is walking away from baseball, retiring after over a decade in the sport, all with the San Francisco Giants. Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. He has accomplished everything a player could hope to accomplish at the major league level. Rookie of the Year, MVP, multiple All-Stars, multiple Gold Gloves, multiple Silver Sluggers, 3 championships, comeback player of the year twice, including this season, led his team to 107 wins, has caught one of just 23 perfect games in Major League history. So in some ways, this is shocking, but it's also not that surprising. The writing was on the wall a little bit. Posey is walking away from at least $22 million that would have come to him had the Giants picked up his club option, which was going to happen at least, if not an extension. So there's a lot to get into. What an honor and a privilege it has been to witness this great career. And we'll break this down even more on tomorrow's Locked On Giants, where it's your team every day.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, when you see a great player like Posey retire, and I've said that he is the Jeter of the 2010s in that he was the leader of a team that won multiple World Series titles and was the one who always seemed to be in the middle of it. And he got big hits even this last postseason against Los Angeles. And of course, for me personally, Posey was a link to the Giants team that my dad just absolutely adored. We went to the World Series in 2014, and having Posey still on that team, my dad loved Buster, but he loved everyone on that team. He loved Lincecum. He found all new ways to pronounce Bumgardner. Sandoval, Crawford, Belt, Pence, all these great players on the team, and all the great pitchers, Kane and Wilson and Sergio Romo. Santiago Casilla drove my dad crazy, but Posey was the center of that. He was the nucleus, and this is a different Giants team now. But having him on that team, that's why I wanted this team so badly to win. It felt like I was keeping a bit of my dad alive in a weird way. But eventually all the great players retire, and he will have his number retired. I believe he's going to go to Cooperstown. I'm sure people will make all sorts of statistical reasons why not. And so he was the MVP of a team that won multiple World Series titles in an era where that's impossible. So take your analytics and drop it in the ocean. And one of my dad's favorite players is retiring, and that's another link to my dad that's gone. So, this is, time is undefeated. And the Giants will have a different look, and it'll be a good team. They're going to be a good team next year. Maybe they'll win the World Series. Maybe they'll win the World Series next year. And if they do, I hope they do it with Joc Pederson. I'll tell you why. Joc Pederson is a native of Palo Alto, California, where my dad lived from 1987 until the end of his life. And my mom is still there. I was there for a long time, especially when I was working in the tech world. And Joc Pederson is a native of Palo Alto, and wouldn't it be fun to bring home a native boy to win a World Series in San Francisco? Well, let me tell you something that would happen. Let's just say that scenario. Joc Pederson, Mr. Pearls, signs with San Francisco, is acquired. I'm not 100% sure about his contract situation. And the Giants win with him on the active roster. Well, he would be part of an elite fraternity that consists of Don Baylor and Eric Hinsky, of players who appeared in the World Series 3 straight years with 3 different teams. Don Baylor played in the 1986 World Series with the Boston Red Sox, the 1987 World Series, where he got a key home run as a member of the Minnesota Twins, and he finished his career in the 1988 World Series as a member of the Oakland A's. Many years later, Eric Hinske played in the 2007 World Series with Boston. He was the final out of the 2008 World Series as a member of Tampa Bay. And in 2009, he homered in the World Series as a member of the Yankees. And the interesting thing about Eric Hinske is in 2010, he was in the playoffs with a 4th straight year with a 4th different team. He was on the Atlanta Braves. He got a key home run in the division series. But alas for Eric Hinske, but good for my dad, the Giants won that series thanks to Tim Lincecum and Buster Posey, and went on to win the World Series that year. So you didn't get the 4 straight World Series with Eric Hinske. But that would be a cool thing if he would join that fraternity. But he would also be alone. Now, look at this interesting thing about Pederson. Pederson right now has joined an elite group of players who have been played in the World Series with 2 different teams in 2 straight years and won both years. For example, the first one to do was Allie Clark, who played for the 1947 Yankees and then played for the 1948 Indians. So 2 straight years, 2 teams to win the World Series. Clem Labine played 2 straight years with 2 different teams that won the World Series, the 59 Dodgers and the 60 Pirates. Moose Skowron played actually for the 61 and 62 Yankees, and then the 63 Dodgers, who swept the Yankees. Don Gullett played for the Big Red Machine in 75 and 76, and then 77 with the Yankees. He pitched in the World Series that year. Jack Morris famously was the 1991 World Series MVP for Minnesota, and then was the number 1 starter for the 1992 Toronto Blue Jays. Back-to-back years, 2 different teams. Ryan Theriot played for the 2011 Cardinals and then was on the 2012 Giants and actually scored the go-ahead run in extra innings in the clinching game against Detroit. Jake Peavy played for the 2013 Red Sox, where he won the World Series, and 2014 Giants. I think he may have started the game that I went to with my dad. I actually don't remember off the top of my head. Ben Zobrist played for the 2015 Royals and then wound up being the 2016 Cubs World Series MVP. Well, Joc Pederson played for the Dodgers in last year's World Series championship. And if he gets signed, let's say, by the Giants and they win the World Series, there you go. But nobody, not Baylor or Hinske, none of the names I just mentioned, nobody's played in the World Series 3 different years with 3 different teams that won all 3 years. Baylor played for the 86 Red Sox, who didn't win the World Series. I bet you didn't know that. And the 88 A's, who didn't win the World Series. Hinske played, as I said, for Red Sox, Rays, and Yankees. The Red Sox and Yankees won, the Rays did not. So nobody's in the history of baseball has played in the postseason for 3 different World Series championship teams with 3 different franchises. And that's what's on the line for Joc Pederson. Now, Chad, that means the Braves would not be winning the World Series next year. But I think that would be cool. Joc Pederson, you're on the clock. Championship teams. And the Giants won 107 games last year, so why not them? He's a native of Northern California. Think about it. I think the Pearls will go over great. Now, if you follow me on Twitter at Sully Baseball, right down there, during the regular season, I do a thing called Who Owns Baseball. And what that is like every day, and this kind of helps me follow all the different teams. So even though some people like Chad may think I don't follow everything, I follow as many games as I can, and I read about every single game that's played during the entire regular season. And I pick who had the best night. And Who Owns Baseball is set up this way. Every single day, I pick an American League and National League pitcher and hitter from a winning team. And the performer that does the best job that day gets 1 point, a wob, who owns baseball. The best player on a team that lost that day gets half a wob. And so I add those up, and at the end of the year, you see which pitcher has the highest totals and which batters has the highest total, and we'll see how that reflects what the MVP or Cy Young vote is. During October, it's a little bit different during the playoffs. Every single game has the best pitcher and hitter of the winning team and the losing team gets either a who owns October or half of who owns October. And then I also do it for the World Series as well. And so I want to just go over the final tally because I think it shows an interesting reflection of what really happened in both the regular season and in the postseason. So, in terms of who owned baseball for the regular season, the National League hitter with the highest who owned baseball tally was Fernando Tatis Jr. with 8. Now, is he the person who should win the MVP? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But that was he took the title there. His 8, and that's a combination of getting a point or a half point. Tatis Jr. had the highest total of the National League hitters. Of the American League hitters, it was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Boy, it was like the children of the early 2000s Expos really, really are making their dads proud. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. had the highest hitting total of any American League hitter. The highest total of a National League pitcher was Max Scherzer with 10.5. Again, on anyone's short list for a Cy Young candidate. Oddly, there was a 3-way tie for American League pitchers. Garrett Cole of the Yankees, the guy that so many people are booing, Sean Manaea of Oakland, and Shohei Ohtani of the Angels. All had 9. Robbie Ray, who's probably going to win the Cy Young Award, finished right behind him with 7.5. But if you combined hitting and pitching, Shohei Ohtani had the highest total with 14. 5 as a hitter, 9 as a pitcher. So Ohtani had the highest who owns baseball total because of his extraordinary year. And that is pretty much an accurate depiction of how the regular season turned out. Then, using my method, which is completely unbiased, who had the highest October? Who owned October? Well, the hitter with the highest who owned October, in other words, using this tally based upon individual days' performance, the hitter with the highest who owns October, and this counts for all the playoffs, divisions, wild card round, division series, league championship series, and World Series. The hitter with the highest total was, drumroll please, Jose Altuve with 3.5. And I know some people love to boo him, and some people like to act like he didn't have a really good postseason or whatnot. He got a lot of huge hits. He had the highest October tally. What pitcher had the highest total? Max Fried of the Braves at 3.5. And in terms of the World Series, Fried had the highest pitching who owns October title. And surprise, Jorge Soler had the highest in terms of batters. So even though it's not exactly a scientific approach, it's me saying, who had the best day? It pretty much lines up with reality. It's not exactly a analytical view of baseball and breaking it down. Me looking and going like, that guy had the best day. And I think he had the best day. But in the end, a lot of it lines up with what will probably be the awards. Now, over the next bunch of days, I'm going to be doing the podcast, and we're going to be talking about who wins this Cy Young Award, the American League and National League Most Valuable Player, Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Manager of the Year. And of course, remember, these are all voted based upon the regular season, not based upon the postseason at all. So the Braves' great run won't make much of an effect on that. And then after that, I'm going to keep doing these. And I'll tell you why. When I used to do the Sully Baseball Daily podcast, and I did 365 a year, people would ask me, why did you do it over the off season? And my response was, that's when you need it the most. You know, I could make the argument, Locked On has been very kind to me. And during the regular season, they asked me to do 5 of these a week. And I've done that. Thank you very much. And during the off season, they'd say, well, just make sure we have about 3 episodes a week. I can really make the argument that you could flip those. Maybe the ratings won't show the same and we won't be selling as many Built Bars. But emotionally, during the regular season, sure, if you want to listen to me, your pal Sully, I'm always here. But if you want a baseball fix, you could turn on a game. You can watch it. You can watch the highlights. The purpose of a podcast like this in the off season is to be that reliable voice, that reliable friend who's there in the middle of winter, middle of February, sometime when you're feeling lonely in January, and you don't want to talk about football. You don't want to talk about politics. You don't want to talk about the world. You're shoveling your driveway. You got something stuck in your shoe. And you just miss baseball. And you want to have someone who's just talking about baseball. And that's where this show comes in. It's more important in the off season when you need your baseball fix to have someone there to offer you a baseball fix. To say, hey, we're here. We're here to talk about it. Stuff on my mind. Guests. Breaking down trades. Talking about trivia. Doing some goofy stuff. Maybe bringing a player or two on. Bringing a comedian or two on. All these sort of things. I can't tell you how often during the off season, I just want to hear about baseball right now. You used to be able to turn to Sports Center and everything like they give you like 1 minute of baseball and the rest of everything's football. For some of us who aren't big football fans, tired of how football just dominates everything. Look, if you like football, great. I like a lot of things too. But it sometimes gets annoying about how it just dominates the sports culture. I just want to talk about baseball. Sometime, around February. If you're sitting there after opening up, Christmas or whatever the hell you celebrate, and you're opening up your presents and you're there, and it's those bunch of days, before New Year's, you're like, what the hell am I going to do? And you're kind of sitting there. Maybe you go for a walk or a waddle after a big meal. And you just want to hear about baseball. That's where we come in. I'm going to be here. Sometimes I talk about weird stuff. Sometimes I'm going to get emotional. Sometimes I'm going to be silly. I'm going to be doing some game show stuff too. I have some trivia stuff to do. But either way, we're going to be here for you. That's why I thank you for making us your first listen and why we're available on all your free platforms. But the fact of the matter is, the off season is here. And that's when we real baseball fans, not just the ones who follow the hype teams, are going to be there. Chad, Cubs fan with an 8. Everyone else, Jeff, Roy, all the people who listen and write in all the time, we're going to be here. And we're going to be answering your questions from Twitter and all these things above. This is when this podcast has to really dust itself off and say, okay, season's over. It's showtime. So follow us on Twitter at Locked On MLB Pod. Same handle for Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. You can follow me there at Sully Baseball on Twitter, and on Instagram, I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast. Saying goodbye to the regular season and the career of Buster Posey. Welcoming Braves fans to say, hey, this is when the getting gets good. And I don't know if that was grammatically correct. And hoping Joc Pederson joins a fraternity of one. This has been Locked On MLB for the 4th day of November, 2021. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.